Building a nice place to work isn't cheap. The average skyscraper can run $1 million per floor, but some buildings are anything but average. Let's count down the most expensive buildings of all time, ranked by actual cost. We will also delve into the inflated cost, so you can see what it might cost to build such monstrosities today. The Middle East has garnered a reputation for liking their buildings big, and we mean really big. There's no room for subtlety in places like Saudi Arabia, where they have billions upon billions of dollars in oil money and are unafraid to show all of it off. Nowhere is this more obvious than with the Abraha Al Bayt building in the Mecca region of Saudi Arabia. This collection of 7 skyscraper hotels features the world's largest clock face, as well as an entire clock museum covering the top 4 floors. King Abdulaziz commissioned these towers to be built as part of the King Abdulaziz Endowment Project. This campaign sought to modernize the area for all prospective pilgrims and tourists. The building has been active since 2012 and is currently the 5th largest in the world. It's also the single most expensive building ever made. It cost an incredible $15 billion to build, which in today's money would be roughly $16.41 billion. We are sure the current owner, King Salman, believes it's worth every penny. Nuclear power plants have been out of style for a while. A few life-altering chemical meltdowns will do that to an industry's reputation. In fact, no country in Western Europe has ordered a new one to be built in 15 years, at least until Finland got the itch to do so in 2005. The result was the Olkiluoto 3 plant in Yorioki, because 2 Olkiluotos simply weren't enough. Originally set to go live in 2010, constant delays have made it so it's just now a completed thing. It's so new that it's not even technically open until early 2021. Most likely due to these endless delays and the costs that built up as a result, the price tag on this power plant has gone through the roof. It has cost the Finnish people an estimated $12.4 billion to put together something that much of the Western world long ago decided they didn't need anymore. It's like Finland has never watched Homer Simpson and Mr. Burns prove time and again why humans shouldn't use nuclear anything. When it comes to military protection, most countries spare little to no expense. Croatia is no different, spending what was an unbelievable amount of money in 1968 to construct the humongous Zeljava Air Base. This underground military base and airport were built to shelter soldiers from apocalyptic weapons of war. It was so solidly made that its walls could withstand a direct blast of 20 kilotons. If you want to know how strong a 20-kiloton explosion is, just look at pictures of Nagasaki after the US dropped an atomic bomb on it. Upon its construction in 1968, Zeljava was the single largest base of its kind in all of what was then known as Yugoslavia. It was one of the largest in Europe, period. Such a project cost $6 billion, which is 3 times more than the military budgets of Serbia and Croatia combined. Also, we're talking about today's budgets. Adjusted for inflation, this is the single most expensive building in history by a long shot. In today's money, this underground base cost over $44 billion. Sadly, such an expensive place is no longer in service, having long since been abandoned by the Yugoslavian military. You can visit if you like, but be aware there are still plenty of active landmines in the area, just waiting to blow somebody's leg off. It might be best to find another expensive place to tour. Moving away from the grimness of an abandoned military base, it's time for some gambling fun in the sun. Singapore's Marina Bay Sands is a giant resort casino commissioned and owned by Las Vegas Sands. It opened in 2010 and cost an incredible $5.5 billion to complete. Adjusted for inflation, that's a ridiculous $6.33 billion, more than enough to be the undisputed most expensive casino in the world. What do you get for that money? An awful lot, to be honest. Marina Bay Sands offers a gargantuan hotel with over 2,500 rooms, a shopping mall, a museum, 6 restaurants run by celebrity chefs such as Gordon Ramsay and Wolfgang Puck, an infinity pool, and a complete art and science exhibit. Don't forget the casino either. Marina Bay Sands boasts the single largest atrium casino on the planet. They offer 500 tables and 1,600 slot machines, which seems like an awful lot until you remember how much it costs to build this thing. They need to make their money back somehow. In January 2020, Apple became the first ever corporation to score a net worth of $1 trillion. But Steve Jobs' baby must have known they were on their way to that milestone for a while by that point. That's because several years ago, they spent baffo bucks on one of the biggest, most expensive corporate headquarters in the world. Who does that if they don't think it'll be a drop in the bucket for them? California's Apple Park is a 4-floor, 175-acre monolith of a headquarters. It features nearly 15,000 parking spaces and over 2.8 million square feet of floor space. You obviously can't see much of it if you don't work for Apple, but there is an extensive visitor center that you can stop by and explore 7 days a week. You can even bring your broken Apple device there and they'll fix it. Aren't they nice? All in all, Apple Park cost $5 billion when it opened in 2017. That would be $5.3 billion today. That said, its neo-futuristic look, which either looks like a donut or a Sonic the Hedgehog gold ring, depending on how hungry or nerdy you are, makes it impossible to deny that this was money well spent. We dare say Mr. Jobs would be proud. Singapore sure does like its large and expensive casinos, because here comes the second one on this list. The resort's World Sentosa, in addition to being a casino, includes 6 hotels, a Universal Studios theme park, a water park, and the second largest oceanarium in the world. Probably the only reason they didn't build the world's biggest oceanarium is that they didn't want to look like they were showing off. The Sentosa also features a dozen world-class restaurants, with menu options to tickle everybody's taste buds, as well as a large pool where you can swim with a bevy of adorably friendly bottlenose dolphins. Such a busy and bombastic endeavor was always going to cost big bucks. In fact, when the Sentosa opened in 2010, it immediately became the third most expensive building in the world. It cost $4.93 billion to build, which in today's money would be $5.68 billion. Where Singapore gets all this casino building money, we have no idea, but they seem to be doing pretty well for themselves. The world, and the United States in particular, loves big, new, and expensive sports stadiums. The latest and costliest one of all is SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. The new stadium typically seats around 70,000 people, but it can expand to upwards of 100,000 people for certain major events. SoFi also features a smaller 6,000-seat venue for intimate events that would look awfully silly played in front of 64,000 empty chairs. Construction began in 2016 and is all but wrapped up in 2020. The cost is estimated to be about $4.9 billion. Not to worry, the owners will more than make that money back in due time. In addition to being the home stadium for both the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers of the NFL, SoFi Stadium will host the Super Bowl in 2020, WrestleMania in 2021, matches during the 2026 World Cup, and ceremonies and events in the 2028 Summer Olympics. Several pre-football concerts and events wound up not happening due to the COVID-19 pandemic, such as the Taylor Swift concert that was intended to be the stadium's first ever extravaganza. But it's a given that soon enough, everyone will be able to flock to this newfangled stadium and happily give California all their money. Fancy casinos do not run cheap, which is why they keep showing up on this list. Here we have the Wynn Palace in Macau, China, the most expensive gambling facility in the entire country. Opening in 2016, the Wynn Casino didn't cost quite as much as its Singapore counterparts, but construction still ran a cool $4.2 billion. Adjusted for inflation, it would cost $4.84 billion to put together today. That much money bought China not just a 424,000 square foot casino, but also 1,700 hotel rooms, 13 restaurants, the largest pool in all of Macau, and well over 100,000 square feet of shopping goodness. If you're not up for shopping, gambling, or eating, you can always check out Performance Lake. This is 8 acres of light, music, and water, programmed to put on a beautifully choreographed dance that will leave you as speechless as the casino owners when they saw the construction bill. With all this talk of casinos, there's no way we could have gotten this entire list without mentioning Las Vegas. Well, here it is. The Cosmopolitan in Vegas is the most expensive building in a city known almost entirely for expensive buildings. Upon its completion in 2010, the Cosmopolitan cost $4.1 billion, or $4.72 billion in today's money. Of course, this being Las Vegas, all that money means guests get well and truly spoiled if they stay there. If you wind up here, you'll get to enjoy 110,000 square feet of gaming space, 40,000 square feet of spa and fitness rooms, a theater that seats 3,200 people, 8 exquisite restaurants, multiple nightclubs, and 3 pools, including one for the nightclub for whatever reason. All these amenities have earned the Cosmopolitan plenty of well-deserved accolades. In 2013, GoGoBot named it the best hotel in the entire world, and in 2015, the Cannes Last Traveler deemed it a Gold List hotel, a designation reserved only for the top hotels in the world. The nightclub pool probably won them over. After the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, New York City was clamoring for a new World Trade Center to replace the fallen one. In 2012, they finally got their wish with One World Trade Center, originally called Freedom Tower, before boring corporate people got their say. The new World Trade Center features an architectural tip that tops the already tall building out at a symbolic 1,776 feet. This didn't just make the new building the single tallest tower in the entire United States. It also made it perhaps the ultimate symbol of a city persevering in the face of unspeakable tragedy. It was also ridiculously expensive to put together. One WTC wound up costing the city $3.8 billion to construct, which equals $4.16 billion when adjusted for inflation. Far more than just a monument or a tourist attraction, One World Trade Center is designed for businesses and corporations abound to house their offices there. It features 78 floors put aside exclusively for offices, an observatory, a gift shop, a theater, and even a space on the top floor for private events. And that's wrap up our video. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the lap of luxury, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an opportunity to explore more extraordinary wonders of the world.